Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel, as people would say. Now this video is, as you can see, I'm literally recording on my phone. I am going to try and talk a little bit about health anxiety for those of you that have, sort of watched my other videos about when I had vitamin D deficiency. I think in the videos I did after my initial video, I said I was going to do a video on health anxiety and how it kind of affected me while I had the vitamin D deficiency. It has been about 2 years, I think, since I had vitamin D deficiency and since I was kind of going through that. So I'm so grateful to be like 100% better, to be working, to be back to normal, and to just be out of that chain of, I don't even know what to call it. It was just a very horrible time for me. So, yeah, I'm going to use this opportunity to hopefully just speak a little bit about me dealing with health anxiety and kind of overcoming it a bit. Sorry, I don't know if I can get proper lighting. So first of all, as well, another thing, thank you so much for everyone that's watched, that's commenting. You comment and stuff, and I can't kind of respond to everyone all the time because of work and stuff, and I know it's horrible sometimes when you just need somebody to kind of just give you that reassurance that you need, and I do try when I can, so I really do apologise, and I will try and get back to you guys on some of the newer comments I haven't responded to, so apologies on that. Thank you for those of you that subscribed, thank you for those of you that are commenting, that are sharing it. I just hope it helps somebody, because as I said in the initial video, I needed somebody to do what I was doing. But the reason I did that video is because if I had someone do that, my journey in recovery would have definitely been smoother. So thank you. So health anxiety, maybe I should explain a little bit about what I went through. So because when I had the vitamin D deficiency and I was having the symptoms, I didn't quite know yet what it was. I was going back and forth to the doctor. The doctor was saying, look, it's all in your head. You have depression. You have you have anxiety problems, etc. But I knew for sure that these symptoms that I'm getting can't just be coming from nowhere. So even after they managed to pinpoint and narrow down that I had vitamin D deficiency, and I still kind of, I was in doubt that maybe it's not just that. If they couldn't find that it was vitamin D deficiency, maybe there's something else that I haven't found. Now, the thing about our brains is that once you have it thinking a certain way for a certain amount of time, it can ruin everything. So you start experiencing stuff that you never experienced before. You start having sensations and symptoms that don't make sense, because you're telling your brain there is something wrong with me. You have, for example, you have one symptom, you have a headache, and you don't know why you're constantly getting headaches. Somebody says you have a headache because of, I don't know, bright lights. You start thinking, are you sure? The more you entertain that thought, it's like, are you sure? Could it be that? It's like other stuff start creeping in. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, that's kind of how it works. So health anxiety, I think the other word for it is hypochondria. And it's basically when you worry excessively about your health, that you constantly need reassurance that you're okay. You have like really show you won't go out, you won't get in your car. There's certain things that you would avoid because you think something's going to happen to you. I did it all the time. I was, and I said it in my other video, an excessive Googler, because when they told me I had vitamin D deficiency, I didn't believe them. I genuinely had got to a point and got to that point, I would say, because of the doctors and because I had the lack of, because obviously initially they were saying I had depression, and I knew that wasn't the case. So I had developed this pattern of Googling and just worrying so much that I'm having these sensations in my legs. I'm feeling really weird in my head. How can this just be fake? How can it not be real? How can there not be a reason behind it? So for me, doing that and doing the Googling and stuff had got me into a mental space of, I need to find out what's wrong with me, even though they had told me eventually that it was because of the vitamin D. So it was a real battle. I was having panic attacks once every hour. And for those of you that deal with panic attacks, anxiety attacks, you know they're horrible. It's like as soon as I know it's going to start, I feel like I'm going to die. And every single panic attack, every single anxiety attack feels like a brand new one. It doesn't feel like, oh, you know, this is a panic attack, I know what's going on. You just feel like, see, it's almost like it's confirming there's something wrong with you. So you're like, see, I know there's something wrong with me. Your palms start sweating, you start feeling lightheaded, it's just, you feel like you're going to die. Like that's one experience that I can say makes you genuinely feel like there is something seriously wrong with you. You feel out of control of what's going on with you. You don't understand it. And as I said, even though you experience them so frequently, if you have a problem with dealing with like panic attacks, every single one feels like a new one. And it's a new experience and it's horrible. So anyone that's dealing with it, I completely empathize with you. It's horrible. It's a really horrible, horrible thing to have to deal with. So, yeah, I was dealing with those. So I was having one panic attack an hour. It sounds really ridiculous. Sometimes maybe even more than that an hour. I turned to somebody else. If they even said on television that someone was, oh, this celebrity's died of cancer, or if I heard that a family friend was sick, I automatically started to think, yes, see, that's it. I'm going to die too. See, everyone around me is dying. And it sounds so weird saying it now because I'm so not that person. But it really just took me to a really dark place. When you're in it, everyone around you thinks you're crazy. But when you're in that space, that's why I said it's a real mental thing. And that's why even when dealing with it, it's about dealing with your brain and how your brain is processing things and retraining your brain to let your brain know that this is not real. And that's part of what I'll explain in a minute. So I was going through that. Now, what that did is it slowed down my recovery from vitamin D. Like the whole, I was taking meds. I think it just slowed everything down, because another thing with having panic attacks and all that kind of stuff is it just affects everything. So from eating patterns to probably how you digest food, you feel more sick and things. If you're not mentally well and you're not like well inside and all these symptoms are coming out and you're taking a supplement, it's not that it's not going to work, but it's going to take much longer. So I definitely experienced that, and it was horrible. Even when I just think about how far I've come, like, it's so amazing. Like, I was somebody else. I genuinely was somebody else. So my heart really goes out to anyone dealing with health anxiety. It is so horrible. It makes you so vulnerable. I remember feeling so alone. I couldn't explain it 100%. But I just felt so alone inside, like nobody else, everybody was looking at me like I'm crazy, but I knew that what I was feeling was real, and it is real. It's just that you have to break that cycle, essentially. So it's very real what you're dealing with. It's not fake. And people will say silly stuff to you like, you just get over it, you're overreacting. But to you, at that point in time, it's not an overreaction. You're going through something. I know I'm babbling a bit, but it's something that, as I talk about it, it becomes even more real to me what I was going through. And I can't imagine somebody dealing with what I was dealing with then. So I just empathise with you. I was repeatedly going to hospital. So when I say I was going to hospital 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah. Sometimes every single day, because as soon as the attacks would start, sometimes they would last a very long time, sometimes it would be very short, but usually when I'm in the thick of it, my behaviour would obviously alarm those around me. So yeah, I often ended up in A&E. They often came to the conclusion that it was just a panic attack. I often left there not believing them, probably 100 times out of 100 times, thinking you guys are lying. There is something wrong with me. And it's just I keep saying, it's just a dark place to be in your brain. So dealing with that and going to the hospital so frequently, it took a toll on those around me, my sister, my mum and dad, my little brother. And I remember just coming to a point where I knew I couldn't continue like this anymore. I remember I went to the hospital and my sister had come with me the day before. Then the next day I was feeling the same way. So I said, I want to go to hospital again, because that's what I used to do. I used to be like, I need to go to hospital right now. I need to go to hospital. My mum would be like, let's just pray about it. And I'd be like, no, I don't want to pray about nothing. I just want to go to hospital right now. So it got to a point where my little sister was like, I'm not going with you. I'm sorry. She didn't even look at me. She just looked at my dad was like, let's go to hospital. She looked at my dad and said, I'm tired. I can't go. And I went to my room and I cried, because I was like, I saw how, what was going on with me and how it was affecting other people. So at that point, and this is where my advice is probably going to kick in. At that point, guys, I had to make a decision. I had to decide whether to allow this to continue or to try accepting it for what they said it was, which was health anxiety. So at that point, I had a choice to make, and I chose that I would try and accept that it's anxiety problems and try and deal with it as an anxiety issue. Hardest thing you're gonna do. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's not easy. It's so hard, because I didn't believe that, but I was speaking to myself and saying, let's try that out. Let's treat it, and the treatment starts with me. So I remember, and I just want to say another story actually quickly. It had got so bad that, you know, in the bathroom when you have mold, like just on the, it's not really bad mold, I don't think I'm disgusting, but it was just, you know, when things get wet and they're damp, I moved out of my bedroom because I thought that was affecting me. I called NHS 111. I was doing crazy stuff. Just so that I can explain to you how crazy I was, I took like 10 items out of my room. I moved it into the spare room and I stayed there. I didn't step foot in my room, because I had a belief that the mold was somehow affecting me, when it was just really, it was like something you just spray and it would wipe off. So that's just to the extent it got that bad, if you know what I mean. So yeah, going back. I then had to I downloaded 2 apps, which I don't have their names, and that I probably shouldn't. If I find names, I'll put it in the description box. And those apps were meant to deal with panic attacks and that kind of stuff. So one of the first bits of advice that I got was, I have to train my brain to know that it's not real. So when the panic attack is about to start, say to yourself, this isn't real. My body is reacting to something that's not real. There's nothing to worry about, and this is fake, and it will pass. It will pass. It will pass. And when I say, I remember I was in Wilkinson when the first one had come since I'd got that advice. And I just wanted to cry, because I was like, okay, I have to be brave. I have to try. So I said to myself, it will pass. I remember going, it will pass. My palms started sweating. My head was going, I just felt really horrible. The heart palpitations. Ah! I said to myself, it will pass. It will pass. It will pass. And so emotional. And I feel like the first time ever, it's not that it wasn't a full-blown panic attack, but it just wasn't as bad as it usually was. It probably lasted it was a shorter amount of time, but it was just so weird to ride through. That's the hardest bit, riding through it and like maintaining that it will pass, this isn't real, and talking to yourself. And I did that for weeks on end. I was saying, it will pass, this is not real, until panic attacks disappeared. So mindset is so important. Like, I know it's so hard, and I know that some of you are probably thinking, how? I don't see like a light at the end of this tunnel, because I didn't. I thought I was broken. But I'm telling you, you really just need to be strong and find that tiny bit of grit that you have left, and remember the person that you were before this, or remember the person you can be coming out of this, because some of you might have been dealing with health anxiety issues and panic attacks and suffering from it for a long time. Remember who you was, or remember who you want to be, or kind of like imagine who you want to be outside of this symptom, outside of this disease, because it's horrible. And just know it's a lot of it is your brain. And just keep telling yourself that I know this will pass. It will pass. And I'm telling you, saying that it will pass, eventually it passed. And I remember one day just being like, they're not here anymore. Like, they're not haunting me anymore. Because I became my panic attacks. I became the symptoms. I became the palpitations. I became fearful. I just wasn't myself anymore because I lived for sickness. Like, I thought I was going to die. Your brain. I think that's the only one piece of advice I can give you. Once you retrain your brain, you're going to be fine. But you have to ride through those horrible spells of just telling yourself when you're in the middle, when you're in the thick of it, it's when it's the hardest. But just tell yourself, this will pass. And I promise you guys, I actually promise you, it will pass. And you'll be so shocked when you're living and breathing like a normal person again. And before I don't want to get super emotional about all of this, but yeah, I mean, I try to make it short as possible. I hope it's helped, maybe. And if you have any questions, please leave them below. I know, as I said at the beginning, I can be quite busy because of work and stuff, but I will try when I have time to upload, answer questions, and to just do what I can to help, because it's definitely something that I dealt with, and I don't want anybody to have to go through a longer route when I can just kind of, not that I'm the be all and end all, but you know, if you can help somebody, you should help them. So thank you so much for watching this video. For anyone going through it, like, my prayers are with you, my heart is with you, and I hope that this just helps in whatever way it can. I've recorded this on my phone, so you should know the love is real. Yeah, feel free to comment and that kind of stuff. I will leave all my other details probably after this video. I'm going to just quickly edit it on my iPhone. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and have a fantastic day.